Alright, g'day everyone, we're back, week 2, day 2 or day B. Make sure you've given yourself a couple of days rest before trying this workout. So we're building on from last week and the last session. So last week we were very technique focused. This week we're going to be making it a little bit harder just by adding a little bit of weight and changing the movements up a little bit in terms of how we might be holding them for a bit longer and all those sorts of things. So we're going to start with the first exercise. We've got our backpack hip hinge. So sometimes this is called like a good morning if you're in a weight room with a barbell. We're just going to call it a backpack hip hinge. So all you need, like I said, is backpack. You can fill it up to make it nice and heavy. So whatever you want, you can grab some water bottles, throw them in, makes it a little bit heavier. So what we're going to do is going to have our backpack on our shoulders. Hold your hands kind of here to hold on to the backpack so it's not shifting around too much. We want our feet around shoulder width apart, and what we're going to do is we're going to break at the hips, so we're going to stick our butt out, and then we're going to bend our chest down to the ground while keeping our back straight. So hips back, and then we're going to slowly bend over until we get almost parallel. Depending on the person, some of you will be more flexible, so you'll be able to go down further than others. We just don't want to see any rounding in the back. A little bit of a bend in the knees is okay. What we're going to do to get ourselves back up is we're going to push our hips forward rather than tilting our back. So forward, standing up like so, squeezing our butt. So again, just to show you, going down, nice and slow, holding that backpack. This is probably about as far as I'm going to go. Push our hips forward, like so. Now, if that's feeling a bit uncomfortable, you can always stop shorter rather than going all the way down. The other thing is, if we don't have backpack or we don't feel comfortable with the weight on our back, we can do a wide leg hip hinge. So I'm going to take our legs, have them nice and wide as you can see. Again, I'll go to the side. Same thing, bending back like so. This is just going to get more hamstrings involved and pushing our hips forward. It's almost like a bit of a kettlebell swing, so you can do some swings like that if that tickles your fancy. So that's our first exercise. Our next exercise is our bodyweight squat, but we're going to add a pause this time. So pause is just going to make it a little bit tougher on your legs. So again, feet roughly shoulder width. I like to go a little bit wider than shoulder width with our feet. Have them slightly turned out because we're going to be sitting down. So again, you can have your hands on your chest, you can have them out, whatever helps you balance. We're going to come down like we're sitting down on a chair. Now for some people, you're going to be able to go lower than others. As we find that point, so we want to try and get our knees and hips level. We're going to hold for 3 seconds. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, come back up. So I'll show you from the side. Come down, pausing, 1, 2, 3, standing back up. A mistake a lot of people make is if they go too deep, you see their back will round quite a lot. We don't want to see that, so just make sure we're stopping at a point where our back's relatively straight and we're coming back up. So I've got you doing around 3 sets of 8 to 10. The next thing we have is some seated calf raises. So this works a slightly different muscle to those standing calf raises. So this muscle actually sits below your calf muscle here. And it's really important for when you're running. It actually does more work than these calves here. So, and this muscle is often involved with things like shin splints and that sort of thing. So what we're going to do is going to have our butt on the edge of the seat, like so. We're going to have our knees behind our toes, so we don't want our feet like this. We want like this. We're going to come up onto our toes, pushing through our big toe, holding for 2 or 3 seconds, then coming down nice and slow. So you probably won't feel as much doing this exercise because this muscle is intrinsic. you might feel a bit of tension or tightness on the sides here and underneath your calf muscle, okay? So you're doing 3 sets, 10 to 15, that's a pretty easy one for you guys. We're going back to our bridges now. So we've gone through these a few times. So just to re-jog your memory, again, we're going to be lying on the ground like so, heels on the ground. We want to make sure our back isn't arched, so we tense our abs. And then as we're going to come up, we're going to push through our heels and squeeze our glutes. So coming up, holding for a couple seconds, coming back down. Again, squeezing abs, pushing our back into the ground, push through our heels, coming up, squeezing those again. All right, so pretty straightforward. You guys should be starting to get the hang of that one by now. And last but not least, we have our jumping exercise. So we're going to be doing some tuck jumps. So the important thing with the tuck jumps again, if we're not feeling comfortable with our landing just yet, so if we're finding our knees are caving in, we can take it slowly. As you get better, we'll make it more continuous. So again, bend it or swing your arms back to get a little bit more lift. As we're swinging our arms back, we're going to be bending down like so. And we're going to jump up and bring our knees to our chest. So it's going to look something like that. You'll probably notice that I landed a little bit more up on my toes. That's because to make this continuous, you're going to have to land on your toes. So it'll look like this. Like so. Okay? So that's basically it for week 2. Day 2, if you guys have any questions, feel free to comment, let us know. Alright? See you next week.